Hey, David from Comic Book Investments here. 35 years in the industry and 15 years as a dealer. So, as I started this channel, I'm trying to figure out how I want this channel to be. So I figured as a dealer, I get like just tons of stuff in all the time, constantly. And so I figured that I'll showcase basically what I get in like once a week, do a video where I showcase kind of what I get in, and then I'll pick a few and then go into the more details of that book, whether it's a good investment, a bad investment, long term, short term, just any of that kind of stuff, and kind of go into the market, what the value is and what kind of returns you can expect on your investment. So I get, like I said, tons and tons of stuff, and I'm not going to showcase all of it. We'd be here all day. So basically, I'm just going to go through a few key things or issues that I got. Like, for example, this one is pretty popular right now. Fantastic Four. It's Fantastic Four '94. It's basically the first appearance of Agatha, and if you don't know who that is, on the new show WandaVision, she's one of the people in there. And, it was speculated that this book would be, that she might be something in Doctor Strange too. But basically, what I call this is a speculation book. And uh, it's hot right now, and unless something gets done with the character in future MCU or maybe even more so in comic books, it's gonna go up and then it's gonna go down. So right now, I bought a ton of these 6 months ago, maybe a little longer, and I kind of stockpiled them, and now I'm getting rid of them. I still buy them because it's still good right now, but I would say 6 months from now, it's going to be going down. So unless you're in it for the short term, this is not a long term investment book. Um, Another one, this is a great book. You should always buy this book whenever you get a chance. X-Men 1. This is like a lower grade copy, but I got this one in. Um, Anytime you can get an opportunity to buy this, it will constantly be going up, especially now that the X-Men are going to the MCU. So as like a long term investment, definitely get this book. So if you don't know anything much about comic books, whatever, make sure you get first appearances, number ones, um, and good key character like X-Men number one. I'll go more into this book later in a detailed video. Um, this is another book that's getting pretty hot right now. The Crow. This is number two. This is number one. These are both first printings. They have multiple printings of them, so be careful when you're looking to buy. This little sticker just says basically it's signed by James O'Bear, the artist writer, on the inside. So I'll make sure to take a picture of it. But this book is getting really popular because there could be like a Netflix series, I believe. Now this one, I'm saying, like, you might think, oh, it's going to go up and then it's go down after the show's out, whatever. Well, that's not the case. If the show's really good and they make season 2, 3, it's going to go up and up. But also, this age, it's like Copper Age, Copper Age stuff is an independent press stuff, like stuff that's not like Marvel, DC. This is off of, Caliber Productions. This kind of stuff is going more and more valuable. Why? Because it's very rare. They didn't make that many of these. Like, these were independently owned and made by the artist usually. And they'd have small runs, some as low as 500 up to like 5,000 and stuff like that. So those books are always good to have in the long term investment because they will always be gaining value because there was just so little print runs of them. So I think those are good long term investments. Whether they're making a show about it or not, I think it's something good. Um, Here's one, Thor 165. This is the first appearance of Adam Warlock. Um, this this guy got more popular because he's supposed to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and there's good chance that as the old MCU characters, like Chris Pratt, Chris Evans already left. I think he's coming back again though. And then as they shift out, they're going to need a new bunch of heroes. And so there's a good possibility that someone like Adam Warlock could be a future staple in the MCU. So it went up for a little bit, then it went down when they said they weren't going to make Guardians 3 because the director James Gunn left Marvel, but then came back. So then it's slowly rising as it's getting closer to him making the movie. So as a long-term investment, I still see potential. I don't think it's speculation. So yeah, I would definitely, if you have that or you're going to get one, like all these books, if you like the book, get the book. But as an investment, I think it's a good investment. Spidey, 238. First Hobgoblin. This is definitely something that you should get your hands on. And also invest in, because whether or not they put him in a movie or not, Hobgoblin's huge character, and it's only gonna go up because it's Spider-Man, it's Hobgoblin, and as a long-term investment, something like that, if you're investing in that, I would say you'd want a 9.0 at least and above. If you can get your hands on like a 9.6, 9.8, get it, store it away. Those are better investments for those books, but at least a 9.0. Got a couple of these this week. Put them together. Turtles, Raphael, #1. First appearance of Casey Jones. This was, I believe this is the first, when they decided to, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird decided to get you more in depth of the Turtles. They did one-shots with like Raphael, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, each had their own book, so the readers could get more into them. I think Raphael was the first one, and it's a very early appearance of the Turtles. I believe it takes place, or at least it's published between 3 or 4, somewhere around there, so it's a very early Turtles appearance. First Casey Jones, and this book I have this stacks of them. I've been buying them up and just kind of holding on, selling a few, holding on, just stacks and stacks. Like this is just some Turtle stuff from the previous weeks. Like, just look at all this stuff. Just like stacks and stacks. I got some Turtles 1s in here, first, second print, third print. I got this one. This is their Turtles like first published appearance. It's a guide of kind of like what was coming out, and so this is like had a little blurb about the Turtles. Definitely got I got Turtles 2 in there. Got a bunch of those. Yeah, I get these whenever I can, and they're only going up. Turtles, long-term investment. Definitely. Turtles aren't going anywhere. Definitely get. Now we all know. Well, I don't know if we all know. But this book, right? Ultimate Fallout 4. What is special about it? First appearance of Miles Morales, which is the other Spider-Man from the Ultimate Universe that's now in the mainstream. And they have a movie out. He's also in a upcoming video game. And this book has been going up like crazy. But the thing is with this book, they made so many of them. So yeah, it's going to go up, but it's all supply and demand. There's a ton of supply. So I still think this is a good book. I still think it's good long-term investment. But what's crazy is there's a book that actually, kind of like that Comics Journal, there's a book called Marvel Previews. And this came out like 2 months before that book. And it basically was sent to comic book shop owners, and they could see what's coming up. Like, in the future, this X-Men book, they're going to battle this. This is the cover, blah, 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 because they make this stuff in advance. So, Marvel Previews, number 95, right here, this book. Now, you're like looking at this book, it's just basically a magazine of what is going to come out in the next couple of months. Marvel is going to produce. And, Miles Morales, right on the cover. These are all pretty high grades, like 9.4s. And this book was nothing. Literally nothing, like 2 years ago. Like, maybe $100, $200, I don't know. You have a 9.8 of that, it sells for $10,000. $10,000. The reason why is because those were just preview books. They would just literally just read them, kind of say, okay, these books are upcoming, stuff like that, and then just probably toss it. And they'd probably give away, it wasn't a book where a comic shop was like, give me, a case full. It was just, they got 1, maybe 2, I don't know. And it wasn't a book they really sold. It literally says, free if you buy from the distributor. Like if you buy comics from a distributor, you get it for free because it's how Marvel advertises what's coming up. So the comic dealer or business owner can just buy a bunch of like, oh, I want a lot of this, a lot of that, and so yeah, so it's pretty rare. And the cool thing is not only does it feature the first, I guess, published appearance of Miles Morales, but it also shows them on the cover. Like that Turtles thing I showed you, they weren't on the cover. They were blurred like this big. And so that comics has been skyrocketing. Now, I don't know where it's going to go because, like I said, I don't know how much is out there. I imagine most of those got thrown away or just torn up or read through. So as far as long-term investment, I really don't know. And I don't know how Miles Morales will hold up as long-term investment. So, but right now, it's super hot. It's like the book to have if you want Miles Morales stuff. So, yeah, but it's crazy. Like 10 grand. 10 grand for a 9.8. It's crazy. I got a Turtles 3 in. This is pretty high grade. Probably come back to 9.6 or 9.8. Yeah, just stuff like that. Of course, this is always a great investment. Hulk 181, first Wolverine. Anytime you can get your hands on it, get it long term. Great. Like, if you're depending on the tier list you're in, like tier list meaning how much you can afford. If you can afford in the 5,000 to 10,000 range for a comic book, in that tier, I always suggest Hulk 181. Like if someone came up to me, he's like, "Oh, I have $5,000 to invest, and I want to invest in a couple comics. What should I do?" I go, "Get Hulk 181." Doesn't matter the grade, right? If you can get like a 9.4 and above, that's great. 9.0 or above, that's fantastic. But you can get a 4.5. You can get a 2.0, and the book is just skyrocketing. I literally been stockpiling those. Anytime we get one and we put it on our website, gone instantly, right? Even if we'll put it at like way above market value, and it's gone. This people want them, and it's just going higher and higher. And I've stockpiled a bunch. I'll do another video on them. I have probably like 30, 20, I don't know, maybe more. I just grab them and stick them in there, and every time I can get like a decent deal on them. This book has been getting pretty hot right now. And DC Comics presents 47. It's basically, it's the first, I guess, comic book appearance of like He-Man, Masters of the Universe. And I believe they're making a remake of a movie. I think that, something like that. But again, that also harkens back to what I said previously is this, the people that watched He-Man, they're coming of age and they want to go back to, collecting what they did when they were a kid. So, like, just in that itself, even if they don't make a movie, I still think it's going to be a very popular comic book in the future. Long term, like, you're not going to get your probably returns you will in like a Hulk 181, but I think if you can get yourself like a 9.4 or above, I think it's a good long term investment. I got tons of stuff here. Flash 139, first Reverse Flash, Professor Zoom. I think that's a great book to have, and it'll always go up in value because he's like one of his best villains. I personally like him a lot. Almost like him, man. I don't know, about the same as Flash, maybe a little less. But I like him. He's crazy and weird. But yeah, so I think that's a good investment. Something like this, Marvel Superheroes 20. This has been really popular lately because it has Doctor Doom on the cover. It's a book dedicated to Doctor Doom because he's coming out in a Fantastic Four movie. So anything Doctor Doom, if he's simply on the cover, it's going for a premium right now. He's a great villain. I don't know where that book will be. It really depends if he really catches on. I think it's like a safe investment though. I don't think you're gonna like, if you buy it now in 5-10 years, it's not going to be like you lost money. You'll probably make a little on your return, but I don't think it'll boom like a Hulk 181 or something like that. This one was interesting. I like to buy things that I've never really seen before. This is newer though. Um, this is a Spawn. I believe it's Spawn 10. Um, this was basically Dave Sims um, did a cover for early Spawn, and I guess what he did is he had a bunch of covers that he mocked up but never actually released, and so he kind of put it in this like special edition book that just came out. They only made, the reason why I got it is they only made 20 of that particular one. So I was like, well, it's rare. Spawn's huge, right? So as far as like making money on it and investment, then it's definitely there. Anything you can get that's like rare, especially with a super popular character like that, definitely get it. This one's kind of cool cover I've actually never really seen. Anytime I can find something I've never seen or a cover that looks kind of cool, especially right now, these old 50s gruesome zombies horror type covers always do very well because this stuff is like, I don't know who made this comic, but it's like so obscure, and like you could have this comic and literally you could find these horror comics and there's like 10 in existence. Like there's just not that many. Um, Another book that I'm speculating on that's going to be really popular and I think is just, a really good book to have is this by Valiant, Zelda #1. Now these things are pretty cheap. Like you can pick them up for 100, $200 or whatever. But I think in the future, as I think Nintendo is going to try to do the whole MCU thing. So that's going to help. And I think Zelda is right at that cusp where people that used to play when they're kids are going to get back into it. And I think like that stuff, if you can get yourself some, get them now early, stockpile them, and I think 5-10 years they're going to be worth a lot more. Like, you'll triple, quadruple your money on them. Make sure though, with newer books, you get higher grades. Don't go for like a 6.0 or 5.0 with that book, right? That doesn't work in that book. You need in that book, you need like a 9.0 at least. I would say, maybe an 8.5, but get a 9.0 and above. If you can get the 9.8s, get the 9.8s. New Mutants 98. First Deadpool. This is like a no-brainer. Get this book. It's good long term. Deadpool is a huge character. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Anytime you get your hands on any 9 and above, get it. Long term investment, great. This book has been kind of interesting recently. Detective 359. First, Barbara Gordon Batgirl. The first Batgirl I believe was Batman 139. But this is the Batgirl everyone knows. I think it's a good book. It had a huge bump from the TV show. Now the TV show is kind of going away, or I don't know what's happening. No one watches it. But it's still a good book to have. So it's a safe investment for you long term. I think it peaked a little bit, and it's kind of come down. But I think you'll be fine in the long term. So I think it's a good safe investment. This is a Spider-Man 16 and an 8.0. Pick this one up. It's a really nice looking book. Daredevil. Early appearance of Daredevil, which is getting more popular now because I believe he's going to be in the MCU. Charlie Cox, the actor who played him in the TV show, I believe is going to reprise his role in the MCU. So Daredevil's been getting pretty hot right now, so if I can get some early Daredevil stuff, I usually try to. This is as a Star Wars, Heir to the Empire, #1. Cool thing about this one, newsstand variant, which makes it a lot more rare. This is super nice grade too. This will probably come back in 9.8. But this book's been going pretty popular because of the Mandalorian. Character in it's going to appear in the Mandalorian. So that book, long term, I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's, but in the short term, and by short term I mean like 2 years, 3 years, I think it'll steadily be going up. I think it's going to level out then the character will come out on the TV show, and then it's going to peak a little bit, and I don't know what they're going to do with the character. The character could literally be in one episode, or it could be a story arc for the full season. It can last multiple seasons. That really all depends. So it's very speculative. But right now, I think is a good time to get in. Even though they've been skyrocketing, it's still a good time to get in. Make sure with this book you get a 9 or above. Yeah, here's another, kind of like the Hulk 181, Giant Size X-Men #1. Yeah, definitely get this book at whatever price, right? It's only going to go up. Like I said, when people come to me and they say $5,000 or whatever like that, and I say Hulk 181, the next book I tell them, Giant Size X-Men #1. You can't go wrong with those books. Those books, you hold them a long time, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is, it's going to be heaps more. So get that book. The last thing I'll show you is, this one's kind of cool. I used to buy a lot more original art back in the day, but the problem with original art is it's one of a kind. Each one. It could be a page from something, but there's only one of that page. And you have to find the right buyer that wants to pay it. So you can make a lot of money on original art, but the problem is it takes a long time to sell. And so we used to buy a lot of art all the time, but we found out that it would take so long to move, like sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you know? And so it just wasn't really working out. But every once in a while, if I come across something pretty cool, you know, I'll definitely throw my hat in the ring and try to get it if I can get it at a good price. But this one is a drawing by Bob Kane, the creator of Batman, along with Bill Finger. But it's, looks like, I don't know the dimensions, probably the normal size. Looks a little bigger than a normal size 9x11 piece of paper. So that's what's kind of weird. But yeah, signed by him. I have a letter of authenticity. It's pretty cool. It's in, like, I'm assuming like kind of like a watercolor. What it looks like to me. But yeah, definitely cool to have the creator of Batman original art piece. And something like that, like when you're getting art, it's all about the artist, right? Whoever drew it or whatever. And then also the subject matter is next. And then you got year that it came out and all sorts of stuff. So, like you can get a Todd McFarlane Hulk, right? When he did like Hulk like 340 and all that kind of stuff, which is technically prior to when he did his Spider-Man run. But people love Todd McFarlane for his Spider-Man run, so those go crazy amount, and you've instantly gone, right? I can get one, but the problem is everyone wants them, so you have to pay a ton for it, and it's like the margin is very slim, even if you can make money. But then I got some old Todd McFarlane stuff from when he did Infinity Inc., which was like 5 years, maybe 3 years prior to his Spider-Man Hulk runs. And Infinity Inc. is not that popular. But it sold. I had half of them sold pretty quick, actually, and the other half of it's been sitting around. But yeah, so like with art, it's just like such a mixed bag, and running a business, we need more consistency. So with comics, it's easier to be consistent because I can get a piece of art and I can sell it within a month, and it's like, oh, awesome, great, right? And then I have other art that sits for years and years and years and years, and so it's just like, it just, yeah. But if I can find something that's cool, definitely I'll get it. Yeah, so that's it for now. If you saw any book in there that you'd want me to talk more in length about, which I'm going to do with some of them, just comment below. Remember to like, subscribe. Like I said, I get so many more. Like, I got an entire run of this second series of Wonder Woman in, and it's like I can't go through and show you every book from that. And I have a bunch more in here, just like stacks and stacks of books. But I'm going to try to pick out interesting ones every week and like key ones, and kind of give you my take as like a dealer in the industry, like what to buy, what not to buy. And like I got like a guy's collection in yesterday. I might talk about that, but it was a bunch of CGC slab books he already had, and he's just kind of like, it was his extra ones that he didn't want anymore. He's like, I don't even like, he's like, he likes Silver Surfer, and he's like, I don't even like Iron Man, so why do I have Iron Man? So I picked up a bunch from him, and anytime I can meet someone in person, if it's possible, I'm not going to, fly across the country just for one deal, unless it's a big deal. But I like to, because I like to put, a face to the name, and I like to see my customers and, talk shop, because I love comics. So we talked comics for a long time, and so like, subscribe, send this to other people. I'm trying to get this channel going, so any support is appreciated. And thanks.